What's up, y'all? It's Poppins cracking his D. About to react to this honest video titled Trends We Should Leave in 2024. I really like his videos. I like hearing his takes on certain things. There are several things I think we should leave in 2024. I think it's several things we should leave in 2023, but here we are, and people still doing and saying the same stuff. But sure, let's hear his take on this. Let's watch.
Trends to leave in 2024. 2024 has been a year in pop culture. I wouldn't say it's been a terrible year, but there have been a lot of moments to digest. Too many. The social climate has also been weighed down by a lot of conspiracy theories. In a sense, it feels like the 2000s all over again. Not only is it reflected in our art and music, but also in the way people are choosing to communicate, which varies. There are many things, many hot talking points, a few sayings that I would just like to see left behind. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Predatory bait videos. The first thing we're going to talk about is a trend I've seen explode on social media in 2024. And it's predator bait videos. I want to emphasize off the bat that this is not about feeling bad for predators. It's about the people putting these videos together not really giving a shit about the cause at hand. The predators are not being arrested, and it just comes across as some type of sadistic corn to me. And I think what really set it off for me that this is not genuine is when...
This makes me think of Gideon. Was that this year? When he tried to make that video exposing EDP and how giddy he was and happy during the situation. I thought that was very strange. I called it out then.
It became such a spectacle, and they would have celebrity guests like Lil Pump appear on these videos. And the craziest one was the rapper The Game appearing on one of these videos to catch a predator. When he has sexual assault allegations himself, it just feels so gross to exploit such a serious topic and turn it into a reality TV show with celebrity guests.
Yeah.
Now, I'll never feel bad about a predator getting their karma, but these type of videos do not handle this situation properly, and they just don't sit right with my spirit.
Yeah.
You guys are not Chris Hansen, and predators do not need to be turned into a celebrity spectacle. But yeah, that's how I feel about this subject.
I agree with that.
Another one is Sabrina Carpenter being too sexy. This is kind of a light one, but when this started coming up, I was like, what is this? Is this 2003? Are we still having the same exact conversation about a female pop star being too sexual for the youth? Time and time again, it's been stated, it is the parents' job to parent their own kids, not the pop star. And that leads me into the other side of the spectrum. Meaningless hypersexuality in all forms of media. I've seen this criticism hurled at shows like Euphoria and the modern music landscape in general. There's not to say there shouldn't be sex scenes or artists shouldn't be sexual. It's just to what extent and what does it actually contribute to the story or theme? Like, for example, I think Sabrina has a clear vision and her being sexual contributes to her overall theme. I think there's been a lot of people leaning heavily into it when the art or song doesn't even go there or justify it. And some might ask, what is meaningful sexuality as it pertains to media then? Sex is human nature, it's instinctive to pretty much everyone. And I immediately think of albums and songs like Donna Summer's Love to Love You Baby, Madonna's Erotica, Janet's Janet, Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On, that really go there. They have a clear theme. They follow up to the promise of what they are talking about, and that also might coincide with steamy visuals or performances. An example that I thought was kind of lazy and falls into the meaningless hypersexuality trope was Tate McRae's It's Okay, I'm Okay music video, where she gave the illusion of being completely naked. And I felt like it was just very misplaced and felt random. The song doesn't even go there. If she was releasing something like I'm a slave for you or Dirty, it would be so much more compelling in my eyes, but it just felt like I want to make a moment with a rather plain song. And I also want to say, obviously nudity is not only reserved for sex. We see them in like pregnancy photo shoots or just art pieces, but I'm referring exclusively to people who are trying to sell sex, but it just feels empty and random and misplaced. And obviously people can do whatever they want with their body. This is not that type of party. But I feel like it's just one of those things that people are using heavily as a crutch again. It's like, for example, WAP goes there. So nudity, sexualness, in your faceness is expected. But some songs are just so plain and so boring, and then it's just like, oh, I'm nude and sexy here. Just a complete mismatch. No Diddy. No Diddy is a term that has gained extensive popularity ever since Diddy's...
I've never used this saying. I thought this was so forced and lame. Let's just stick with pause and no homo.
...case hit the media. And in many ways, it is the new no homo. The unfortunate thing is socially, I think violence and abuse is largely viewed as a masculine trait. We look at cases of abuse and most of the perpetrators are men. We look at serial killers, most of them historically have been men. Homosexuality socially has a proximity to femininity, even if some of it is bolstered by stereotypes. And as we know, there's nothing less manly in the eyes of many people being a woman or being womanly. It's insane when you really think about it. Even in homophobia exists some misogyny. But the fact of the matter is, socially in the eyes of many, homosexuality is still the ultimate ender of masculinity. While Diddy being an abuser is horrific, it's not unusual for a man to be an abuser. And while there's been great progress made with gay people in the States, socially and legally, genres such as hip-hop and R&B still remain greatly conservative. Hip-hop especially is a genre rooted in machismo, and Diddy has branded himself as the ladies' man, and by all accounts, at least publicly, he was. I think it's very easy to dismiss taking issue with things like this as being a snowflake or taking things too seriously. But the fact of the matter is, it is harmful rhetoric. Diddy's crime is not that he was allegedly attracted to men, it's that he allegedly abused men, women, boys, and girls. That should always take precedent over anything else, not his sexual orientation. Speaking of Diddy, some of the conspiracy theories surrounding his case have gotten way out of hand. It's another aspect of people turning something serious into a spectacle. And of course, this is the type of case that's going to invite speculation. It's only normal. And I think there is genuine speculation to be had about many things surrounding Diddy. But in the same token, it's one of those things where some people are pushing mindless conspiracy theories as fact, and they don't really care about the victims at hand or case at hand. It's just a clickbait thing to them. Another one for me was everything does not need to be a joke. Can we be serious even a little? The rise of meme culture is great, but it's also opened up everything to constant jokes. Even like how people consume art, something serious will be memed to death. Unfortunately, we live in a world where someone being extremely vulnerable, pouring their heart out, is able to take on a different context for amusement, and it's out there forever. And I realize this is far more general, but I do wish there was a way to lessen this. Bridges back to songs. There's been a bit of a resurgence, but not quite where I want it to be. We need bridges back bad. And we need to...
I agree. It adds so much dynamic to a song. It, adds so many more layers because, there are multiple bridges. And it just makes the song a lot more interesting. So I agree with that.
Correct all the attention spans that have been damaged. Obviously, every song doesn't need a bridge, but I hope to see the fall of the barely 2-minute song. Stan absolutism. Now, obviously, we're too far gone into the acceleration of standom for it to ever go away. I feel like there's been even more of a level of groupthink on the rise. That's why YouTube is so great as a platform. You can go to YouTube comments most times and see genuine nuanced takes on a subject or public figure. It's not just brain rot. For instance, I have my favorite artists, but I do not like every album by my favorite artist. But I feel like even saying that present day will send stans into a blind rage. Like, what you say has to be 100%.
I just talked about this on my, in the comments on my Patreon. But I feel like this is an indication of someone who doesn't have a social life outside of the internet. It's very sad. You exposing yourself. Because if you did, you will be able to understand that people in the real world are different and they have different opinions about shit. and it's nothing to get upset over. Not everybody's gonna like what you like. And that's just such a basic concept, but a lot of, these hermits who are inside 24/7 and online all the time, they don't comprehend that. It's very disturbing. But you have to go outside and get a life of your own and actually interact with real human beings in person, and you'll come to that understanding, because there's no way you should be getting bothered by somebody else's opinion. That's their opinion, you weird nigga. How is that difficult to understand? But there are a lot of these weirdos who lurk online, and this is why I don't really bother reading my comments on YouTube. I'm very active on Patreon, but they starting to seep over there too. But this is why I don't really like to get involved with, the internet nonsense, because a lot of them who lurk in these internet streets, and it weirds me out. So, there's that.
Praise, or it will be a grave issue. Stans will also mischaracterize what you say if they don't like what you say and virtue signal. Of course, a normal fan doesn't share this notion, but stans do. Stans are extremists. I've been called every slur in the book, and I'm sure that's true for many other creators as well. But it's like, can we just be normal?
No, they can't be normal. So you have to accept that. This is why I can't take it personal. You're mentally ill, and I can just feel for you and move on about my business. I can't be worried about a nigga who's mentally ill. That's for you to take up with Jesus and, figure that out with your therapist or whatever you gotta do. Not got nothing to do with me. So, yeah, that's my take on it. But you can't ration with people who are mentally ill.
I feel like my take is trash. You can even express that.
Because I feel like that does start to make you mentally ill when you have very little interaction with the outside world. You don't have no friends. You don't get outside and, do things. You don't have a social life. That starts to, cause a mental illness of some degree. So, yeah.
Why must I share the same idol worship as you? And just because someone doesn't like an album doesn't mean they hate said artist. It just means the album sucks to them. It's as simple as that. Which leads me into my next point, blind poptimism. Poptimism is the belief that pop music can be great and judging it without bias. With that being said, I feel like we are in post-poptimism now. I'm not sure if it's solely because of money, even though I'm inclined to believe it plays a part, but the most mild and most average pop albums can get above average reviews. I feel like critics only critique when it's safe to do so now. Someone like Katy Perry who has never been a critical darling. And it feels so strange because I feel like music listeners are becoming more representative of how an album was actually received at the time of its release, rather than publications. And it's like when we look back at this media, it's going to be like, that's not really how people felt at the time. Even if they feel it now, it's not how they felt at the time. And I feel like this is particularly true for pop music. The most basic, generic pop can get a really good review nowadays. This is just something I would like to see more nuance in. Fine shit. I hate this saying. I think it's such an ugly saying. It doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good. My immediate thought is it's a shortened version of fine ass shit, but it doesn't serve the purpose better. It doesn't sound better. It doesn't look better. And it's just something that makes me cringe so hard. AI art. This one goes without saying, especially for those who have a big platform and are in the arts. Please do not use AI. Hire people. It is worth it. It looks so much better. And it is just the right human thing to do. I hate AI art and it feels so dystopian. AI is good as a tool to clean something up, but I don't think it should be the generator of art. I just don't. Sped up versions. TikTok has this trend where every single song gets a sped up version, and it doesn't work for every song. And this is another reason why attention spans are being shortened now. Some sped up versions are cool, but others literally just make my brain feel like it's turning into mush. I just hope this trend is slowed down. Literally.
I've never heard.
But yeah, that concludes my thoughts on trends that should be left in 2024.
Interesting. And of course, it also depends on what side of the internet you're on, because people experience different parts of the internet. Your algorithm will feed you different things, and also it depends on how much you're on the internet. That's a huge thing, because some of the things he mentioned, I'm like, what? I've never heard of this, I don't spend a lot of time online, even though this is my job, which is very ironic, but yeah, I just have other things to do. But yeah, I hope these things are left in 2024, but we shall see. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!